Welcome. My name is Siki Stephenson, and I'm the CTO for Cybersafety here at Gen, and I'm going to be the moderator for you today. Before we start, Michal, you want to start introducing yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Michal Salat. I'm the Threat Intelligence Director at Gen, and my goal is to hunt new threats and protect our users.
Jakub?
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jakub Křoustek. I'm Threat Research Director, cooperating closely with those folks, and my goal is to protecting the users. I'm in charge of telemetry and many more.
And Luis.
Hello, thank you, Siki. Hello, everyone. This is Luis Corrons, Security Evangelist at Gen, and also Threat Whisperer, which will be my next title, I hope. And welcome you to this exciting webinar about the latest threat report.
Awesome. So what we'll be discussing today is going to be about the latest cyber threat trends that our team are seeing during the first quarter of this year. We see from an increase in data breaches to new scam yourself attacks, to deepfake personas, ransomware, and so much more. We'll talk through what we saw and how people can stay protected as threats keep on evolving. But to jump right into it, Jakub, what is the Gen Threat Report and what are the threat areas we cover in it?
Yeah, the Gen Threat Report is something that we've been creating for the last 3 years, and I would say it's kind of unique insight into the threat landscape and threat intelligence that we have, which is created thanks to umbrella of our cybersecurity products, such as Norton, Avast, LifeLock, and BreachGuard, and many more. Speaking about the threat report, we actually kind of changed the format last quarter to make it more streamlined and hopefully easier to read. Previously, it was like 70 pages of text. So I hope you will like the new format, and I would like to encourage you to give it a try. And about the content, within our segment of cybersecurity, we usually group the threats into four basic groups, which is financial threats. This can be anything starting from financial motivated attacks to, let's say, banking Trojans on mobile or even sophisticated financial frauds. The second group will probably not surprise you, as this is roughly 80 to 90% of what we detect every single month, which is scam and scam-related attacks. So in here, we are discussing things such as e-shop scams, dating scam, but also malvertising or phishing. The third group, again, something that is maybe not that much talked about in these days, but it's probably not going to lose it, which is malware. Malware is still here and it's still tricky. So let's say ransomware is something that belongs here. And the last one is about personal data and their theft. This is, I would say, nowadays digital gold for threat actors because it's something very valuable. And in here, we cover things such as data stealing threats, breaches, or even identity threats.
Interesting. Well, when the team was putting the report together, what were some of the key findings that stood out? Something that the average person would help them to understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's tough to pick just some because it was packed with such highlights, but just to select some of them. For example, the crypto core group is getting really sophisticated. This is a crypto giveaway schema, and they are getting better every quarter. And they are also generating huge amounts of stolen money. So I believe this is something that we will be witnessing for some time, even in the future. For scam, I would like to highlight the scam yourself attacks. And if we have some time, I would maybe define what do we mean by scam yourself attacks. In here, the attackers are basically instructing you to do the scam on yourself. Meaning one of the techniques to explain, for example, the fake CAPTCHA. We all know what CAPTCHA is, like to prove that we are not robots by clicking some elements on web pages. But the attackers actually abuse this concept by instructing users of, for example, some web page to press various keyboard shortcuts. But in fact, such shortcuts effectively mean that they just executed some malicious script and effectively infected themselves. So this is hard to spot if you are not aware of this. And again, the scam yourself attacks are getting traction, huge increases both in prevalence but also in impact. So for example, in Q1, we've protected more than 4 million unique users against these threats, which is a really huge number and a huge increase from the Q4. So again, we believe that this is something that will be with us for some time. It's no longer just Windows, but they are also spreading to macOS and so on. And from the data stealing threats, I would highlight ransomware. Ransomware was really also getting traction for the last 12 months. So the volume of attacks on consumer segment especially was really growing. Magniber is the strain that was mostly active, but we are also seeing new threat types such as the FunkSec ransomware. And this one was interesting because it was partially created by AI. Meaning LLM code generators. So this is again something that we need to deal with, and it will be again more frequent. And the last thing, also data breaches and overall info stealing threats were also more and more frequent.
Interesting. Michal, Jakob was mentioning here about the increase in data breaches. What's the significance of these breaches for people? Why does it matter?
I mean, it's important to notice if people are reading news that the data breaches are in the news basically every week. Like we're seeing more and more of them popping up. And according to our telemetry from BreachGuard and LifeLog, we saw 36% increase in the number of breaches quarter over quarter. So that's a pretty significant raise. And also the overall number of records or number of lost pieces of data is growing quite a lot. And it's important to realize that we provide a lot of our personal data to companies, and this is not only your corner shop or online hardware store, but it's also the big brands that we've seen recently breach. For example, Marks and Spencer in the UK, Adidas, and quite a few others that suffered quite big data breaches. And this gives attackers tremendous power because it allows them to kind of profile their victims and create very personalized messages to make their attacks much more successful. And we expect that this is going to get more and more successful through the use of artificial intelligence, because the attacker would be able to process the data much quicker, and they would also be able to respond in virtually any language they wish, as if they were native speakers. But what I would also like to talk about is how intertwined the, let's say, data theft or data breach ecosystem is, because you've heard from Jakub about scam yourself attacks and various other, let's say, threats. But it's interesting to see that a small malware that steals credentials of an individual or an employee in a company can cause a significant data breach later on if those credentials got into attackers' hand and they are able to use them to access data, for example, in the cloud when no proper multi-factor authentication is used.
Makes sense. Now, scams are obviously top of mind for everyone. What did we see this quarter in the evolution of scams?
We're quite closely monitoring attackers that try to use various phishing kits as well as website builders to create convincingly looking forms that mimic known brands, especially banks or cell carriers in the US and Australia. And what this kind of complicated from this perspective is that you have suddenly a service, for example, Weebly, that provides legitimate website building application or a framework for many legitimate users, but then the attackers basically misuse the platform to launch their attacks and get their credentials. And we saw a plethora of quality attacks ranging from very stupid ones where you can very quickly recognize that it is probably a phishing web page or a phishing form, all the way to high quality websites that mimic almost identically the page that has been targeted.
Interesting. So Jakob was also talking earlier on scam yourself attacks, and it's obviously one of the newer threats. How can people stay protected against this increasing threat?
Scam yourself attacks are very convincing because the attackers over time figure out a way how to hide the malicious code that the attacker pushes into the user or into the clipboard of the user that executes it. So it's important to watch for scripts or watch for websites that make it overly simple for users to kind of start any code. A lot of the times when we're talking about scam yourself attacks, the lure is trying to fix some common errors, either with Windows update or with outdated versions of system tools or browsers. Or sometimes the attackers also try to leverage CAPTCHAs to convince users that they're actually trying to pass CAPTCHA and they infect themselves by running a malicious code. So every time you see a website that's trying to tell you that you should open and run dialog or press the Windows and R key that does the same, you should be very careful because there is a high chance that that is a lure or that is a way how to automatically run code in your machine. And these attacks typically lead to installation of data stealing malware like Luma, which you might have heard recently that had an attempted takedown by Europol. But the last information is that we see them kind of getting back up to speed and recovering from the takedown operation. So we expect that they'll be back up fairly soon.
Now, shifting the topic a little bit, but very adjacent. Lewis, across all these types of threats we're talking about here, we're also seeing an increased use of AI in deepfakes. What role did this technology play in our findings during Q1?
Yeah, artificial intelligence and deepfakes have gone from being experimental tools to essential components in many of today's cybercrime campaigns. Right? Let me give you a couple of examples we've seen during this first quarter in 2025. So the first one took place in January. It was run by Cryptocore, a cyber criminal gang we've been tracking for a while. Jakub has mentioned it earlier. They always capitalize on high-profile moments globally. Right? In this case, they took advantage of the inauguration of the US presidency. They took the original video being streamed on YouTube and applied deepfake technology to subtly alter the message and turn it into a promotion for a fake crypto investment opportunity. The video looked real, and the speaker, that was the president, sounded really credible. It was really well done. The result, people fell for it, a lot of them. We track around 2,000 transactions with estimated losses reaching like $3.8 million. And that was only what we tracked, so it's probably fairly higher. Interestingly, we expected to see similar scams when the new Pope was announced. That was another global and relevant event. But in that case, we didn't observe the same kind of coordinated campaign. And the second one, this is coming a recurring theme in this talk we're having, is about the scam yourself attacks and how the criminals applied AI to these attacks. So they use AI generated personas to create videos to convince users to download apps, run commands, or install fake software updates. And they do it all under the guise of tech tips or investment advice. The twist is that victims aren't tricked by a technical exploit, they are tricked by trust. Which brings us to a bigger point. The future of scams isn't just about malware or phishing. It's about manipulating human psychology, and artificial intelligence is accelerating that shift.
Thank you. Now, a question for all of you. So you choose one who picks it up, or all of you do. Despite the constantly evolving threat landscape that we're seeing, how can people stay one step ahead to protect themselves online?
I'd say that they can read our blog posts about the threats that we write and the threat reports to kind of stay informed on what's lurking in the shadows of the internet. So, because that is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to watch out for yourself. If like apart from using a proper security solution, to know what's out there and what the attackers are using at the moment, because then it's much easier to spot and avoid.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And I would like to add, like, in these days, the majority of attacks are targeting users, people, regular people, not that much the devices. So you folks are part of the chain. So the better you know about the situation, the better you can help us to protect yourself. So fully agree with Michal. I would maybe add one more advice that we are unfortunately dealing with for a long time. Again, kind of related to scam yourself. But the trend that we see is that users are blindly trusting advices on the internet. And some of these are like disable your security solution to get this piece of software to fix something. But frankly, think about that. Is the guy on the other side really trying to help you, or trying himself to get your data, your assets, or access to your valuable information? So please think about that. I know it's tempting sometimes, but really think about your action, because this can harm you.
As one of my colleagues is saying quite frequently, help us help you.
Yeah, that's quite true. If I have to leave people with one message from this report, is this: like, scammers have new tools, but they are still playing the same old game, manipulating trust, urgency, and confusion. Yeah, we know we are talking about AI, deepfakes, and technologies that sound like really futuristic or even overwhelming to everyone. But don't be scared. I mean, these threats can be beaten with awareness, as Michal and Jakub were saying, and simple habits like slow down, ask questions, and double check before you click or act. And remember, you're not alone in this. Our team is constantly tracking these threats to make sure people have the knowledge and tools they need to stay safe. That's what this report is all about at the end.
Super interesting. Maybe there on one more question. What do you expect to see in the coming quarter or in the future? Michal, putting you on the spot.
As I mentioned, we are actively monitoring the Luma situation, because we really expect that the attackers will recover. It is important to mention that Luma was the, let's say, number one info stealer or data theft malware that we were monitoring by far. So it would be it would open a lot of space for another groups to kind of take over their space and attack. We also expect the scam yourself to continue, because that's a very good and very easy way for the attackers to attack. And as long as people are not aware, or as long as people are not paying good attention to what they're doing, this will continue to be a big problem. And last but not least, it was mentioned a couple of times, the deepfakes and the AI threats will be there with us for sure. Better and better videos that allow, or that fool people more effectively than before.
Okay, same
Yeah,
question.
one thing that I in internal meetings we've had, and like Michal manages a great group of people, and one of the things they do is like they take a look at these deepfakes, how they are, how they are evolving, how good they are, and it was already a number of months ago when Michal's team started saying like, okay, this is getting to a new level. I mean, we see it's improving a lot, right? Like since the first ChatGPT got out, and then we've seen like all these advances. But there was a moment where Michal's team said like, we were able like to, I mean, we are experts on this. We've been like dealing with this. We've watched like hundreds of thousands of deepfake videos, and we are kind of experts. So we don't even almost need tools to say, okay, look at this, look at that. This seems that this is fake or not. But a few months ago, they said, well, the game is changing. This is getting way more sophisticated, and we cannot guarantee just by looking at them that the video is fake or not.
Yeah,
I remember clearly that.
I would also add, it's obvious. I mean, the shift in the threat landscape and the way how the attacks are delivered and in which form. So right now it's really shifting, and it's visible even, for example, from the volume of attacks. In the past, it was heavily on like the phrases spray and pray attacks, targeting millions and praying that you will succeed with, let's say, 1% and get your profit out of them. But from what we see in the threat landscape, it's not that much about mass attacks any longer. But for example, via AI, it's mostly about somehow personalized attacks. So make it more suitable for yourself, for what you are interested in, for what you are looking for. This is tied, for example, with the crypto core, mostly people that are into crypto investments. So they will get the scam that is more suitable for them. But it's also, for example, for the ransomware. Again, in the past, it was heavily about millions of attacks. Now it's more crafted via, for example, some spear phishing at the beginning and then delivering targeted attacks. So again, volume is not the only indicator about importance, but it's about the techniques that are now used. So the threat landscape is really shifting.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, I've told this many times in the past for those who follow me, but cyber criminals are running companies, right? It's like a real company, and they are after return of investment. So using these new technologies is marvelous for them. It's great because they can be much more profitable, let's say, productive. And as in the past, it was okay. I might send like 10,000, I don't know, 100 million emails, spam emails, to see if like a 0.0001% clicks on it, and finally I get some revenue out of that. Now they can still do that, but they have new ways to do it with far more advanced, investing really little money and getting way better and getting a better return of investment at the end of the day. Siggy was asking about like, okay, what would we see in the future, right? I really don't want to tell like exactly because I'm already working on the next quarterly report and I don't want to spoil. But let's say that Mihala and Jakub were on the spot. Yeah, those are some of the things we are working on.
I was trying to tease it a little bit out of you guys. So maybe like one more question here before we wrap this up. What do you worry about? Like, what keeps you up at night when you're thinking about the threats and what's happening out there?
I worry that we will lose trust in general, because with the power of AI and with the personalized scams, it becomes obvious that it's going to be very hard to trust what we see and to trust in the messaging that we'll be getting, because we have seen in the past personalized scams that leverage data from the breaches to kind of make it very trustworthy that the attackers actually know about you or have the information that they claim to have. And I really worry that this will disappear, that we will not be able to kind of easily rely on the fact that my data is mine and private, and nobody has access to it. And especially when we're talking about language models and AI agents, I expect that people will voluntarily give out a lot of data to them, which will make them an extremely interesting targets for attacks and for further breaches.
Same to you.
Can I answer also that question? I mean,
You can also jump in if you want.
Yeah. I want to just say another angle, that there is a lot of geopolitical tension all around the world in the last years, right? And one of the things I fear about, I mean, we have become really good at collaborating internationally, like with other security companies, with law enforcement, etc. And then we are getting better at that, and thanks to that, we are fighting better the cyber criminals. One of the fears I have with all these geopolitical tensions is that we get to some kind of balkanization of threat intelligence, where we stop collaborating in the way we are doing it now, and that would be bad for everyone.
I think it just shows the importance of the collaboration we have with everybody around us. This is not a one-person fight. It's the collaboration between governments, between private sector, and education, in essence, to combat this. But we're coming to the end of this. I want to thank everybody for coming. You've heard a lot about scams, ranging from data breaches, deepfakes, phishing attacks, and more. We hope that everyone is more aware of the threats circulating online, how to spot them, and what to do to stay safe. And stay tuned for our upcoming Q2 threat report. We will highlight some of these topics and much more. And again, thank you for attending. Hope you enjoyed it.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.